that you cannot have a uniform and a universal system of legal education, given the fact that the resources and other infrastructural support for having a beautiful model of legal education, they vary from place to place, from region to region, from country to country. But yeah, I got convinced about one thing, that because of the huge changes, the immense changes which are taking place across the globe, and which has perhaps made geographical boundaries irrelevant, to that extent I further got convinced that it is high time that we learn from each other's model. It's high time too that we analyze the problems which are being faced by each legal education model, wherever that is. At the same time, if you look at the managers of the legal education system, or for that matter any educational system, in countries like India or elsewhere, I guess too, in legal education I can vouchsafe about one thing, that we have so many managers of the legal education, and perhaps each one of them is working at cross purposes. If my colleagues would recall, only a month back or so, Kapil Sibal, our minister, attorney minister, he came out with proposals for doing something about legal education. But he was snubbed by our law minister. And law minister said, no, legal education does not come under your jurisdiction. That's not the end of it all. Oh lo behold, you have another organization called as Bar Council of India. Bar Council of India, for the last decade or so, is trying to enforce a discipline of its own, is trying to enforce subjects of its own, is trying to enforce some kinds of things which only they know, some kinds of subjects which only they know how better it can be managed, which perhaps universities like Delhi University or maybe other universities across India may not be able to manage. And then, when you have given such immense powers to such organizations, when you have given them so kind of wherewithal, and in that case, in that scenario, if I from Delhi University would like to go for certain changes, Bar Council of India would catch us by neck. Isn't it too strange that one educational model, that one field of legal education, and you have 4 or 5 authorities to manage it? There could be a possibility of better coordination amongst themselves, but yet that is not happening. And on top of it, when we talk about the course curriculum which has been devised by, we have one course curriculum devised by HRD, another devised by Bar Council of India, another devised now by Legal Education Committee something. And in this scenario, we as colleagues, we as teachers, aren't we up to these challenges? Isn't it up to our shoulders to tell them, look, either we manage the legal education or you manage it in the way you do? This is one of the greatest problems of a country like India. I'm talking about India, I don't know what is in your place. That's the reason that I got convinced that we as colleagues, we as law teachers, we as students of law must think very positively about the whole of things which are happening in the legal education. It's not only in the legal education, it is happening too in legal profession also. It is happening in the judicial profession also. Please permit me to recall, only yesterday, a senior advocate named Vidhan, he on the dais has criticized the Chief Justice of India, though not directly but indirectly. Why? Because he wanted to put across a point that, look, there is one Mr. X judge who is Chief Justice of one particular High Court. You have not made him Chief Justice, and therefore, why is it that you have not made him Chief Justice? Now I put a question to all of you. Isn't it a kind of trade unionism in the appointment of judicial posts? Is it not? I guess it is, with respect. I guess this kind of legal, this kind of trade unionism, if it can happen in the judicial system, this kind of trade unionism is happening in legal education also. Now, as on date, I guess we have about 600 or maybe 700 law colleges across India. And each law college is, with respect, or some of them, with respect, are worst scenarios. They don't have the money, they don't have the buildings, right? On top of that, Bar Council of India comes for a visit to them, charges about 1 lakh rupees per visit. If you don't pay 1 lakh rupees per visit, you will not be given affiliation. Come on guys, that 1 lakh should be spent for some other good purpose. Why should you charge 1 lakh rupees from them? In fact, a colleague from Hyderabad, he told me once, Sahab, Bar Council of India, they are not giving me affiliation. I told him go to the High Court and you get a stay order, and he did. I told him the reason for saying so is because Bar Council of India has no powers prior to the degrees. It's only after you get a degree that Bar Council comes in the picture. Unfortunately, we as law teachers have not stood up to that challenge. We have not contradicted what Bar Council of India is doing. With respect, who are managers of our legal education in Bar Council of India? With respect, I tell you, they are all third degree law graduates. None of them is an LLM. None of them is, forget about being a PhD, being a research scholar. With respect, because this is their field. Because they believe in trade unionism, because they believe in whatever they want to do, and we have given them a leeway to do so. Unfortunately, in other ministries, they have told their line, because as lawyers, with respect, they have perhaps huge nuisance value, again with respect. In the process, who suffers? Is it not our future generation of lawyers who suffer? Yes, it is. Because we are talking about the world-class legal education. Now, what do we mean by this world-class legal education? When our boys and girls in colleges like Ghaziabad, when the classes are not held there, it should be the case elsewhere as well. When classes are not held there, when they do not have enough teachers, they do not have competent teachers, now are we still talking about world-class legal education? Oh, come on boys, it is a time to think about where do we go from here. It's a time to think as to where should the money come from. It's the time to think that why shouldn't the law teachers be given an ultimate choice in determining the curriculum, in determining as to how we run our law colleges. Unfortunately, now you have a distinction between so-called 5-year law colleges or 5-year national law universities. Look at the amount of money which they get. Is that not the money of you and me? Look at the way how you have poor cousins in the sense traditional universities like Delhi University. I am from Delhi University, right? If I have to purchase a piece of paper, perhaps either I do it on from my own pocket, or maybe I have to get a huge sanction from a peon, then a clerk, then an assistant registrar, then vice chancellor. By that time, either I have left that university or I might have gone abroad. My friends, that's not the end of the story. You know, I'm just putting across certain kinds of graver infirmities which you come across in a system called as Indian educational system, and particularly in the legal profession or in the legal education. I would reserve certain comments at the end of the session. I thought that these are some of my gut feelings about how legal education is being run in this country, and as to how you have newer vested interests which have over the years crept into Indian legal education system, and it is those vested systems or vested interests which perhaps have gone awry, have taken things to perhaps worse scenarios, and ultimately who suffers? Boys, it is the student, it is the future lawyer who suffers. It is my children, it's your children who will suffer. And if we have to think about world legal education, we have to think about how we make a better future for our future lawyers. Because if you have a better lawyer, you will have a better judge. You will have a better lawyer. You will have a better judicial officer. Also, perhaps you will have better managers of our country. Now, with these words, I would request the distinguished speakers on the dais. My friends, I have about 7 speakers, and I have about 1 hour to go. How would we do it? Or maybe I have 1 hour and 15 minutes. Perhaps 10 minutes would be okay for you. Would that be okay? So, while I request the speakers, I have again another position to make clear, that it is the main points or main arguments of the distinguished speakers which should come to the forefront. Now, I believe we do not have the time for running across papers which you might have with you. We only can afford to hear your arguments, to hear your main submissions and main suggestions. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my very distinct privilege to request Ms. Maria Eugenia Jimenez. I hope I have pronounced it correctly. I think I did not. She is Associate Director, International Judicial Program, Dean Rusk Center. By the way, where is the Dean Rusk Center?
In fact, I'm the University of Georgia, U.S.
Okay. She's from University of Georgia, United States. But before I request her, I think I did not give her a proper introduction of myself. My name is Jawaharlal Kaul. I am teaching in Campus Law Center, University of Delhi. And that faculty of law is quite old. I guess it has been started way back in 1940s. And we are still continuing with the traditional system of 3-year law degree. Believe me, even if Bar Council tries, it's hard. Even if any other organization tries, it's hard to tell us to start 5-year law course. We have put our foot down. No way. Because the 3-year legal system has produced some of the very distinguished stalwarts in legal profession, judges, lawyers. They are all products of that 3-year legal system. So we are not in a hurry to start 5-year legal system, because there are very good people, good number of people who are espousing 5-year law course all across the length and breadth of the country. And the very distinct thing which we follow in Campus Law Center or in all the 3 centers of Delhi University, we follow instructions through case material system, which I guess you also must be following out there. And there are other things which we do with our students, and some of my students are here. Perhaps some of them might not have attended enough classes, but they are doing good as lawyers. So I wish them all the best. And now I request Maria. Maria, please. You can speak from here, you can speak from there, wherever you
No, this is fine. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and will you be so kind to let me know when we're on the 5 minutes, and then 2 minutes more.
Okay.
Okay. So, I'm the Associate Director of the Dean Rusk Center, which is the international arm of the University of Georgia School of Law. I'm originally from Argentina, and I came to the U.S. doing a Master of Law, after doing a Master of Law in Belgium, and then went back to Argentina and came back to the University of Georgia as faculty member in 1993. Okay, so one of the things I think, following the Chairman's words, is what type of lawyer we're looking for. I think it comes across all universities around the world that we want this highly expert technician in the area of law, but a well-rounded individual. We want this individual to have a very humanitarian side, and we want this individual at the end of the day to understand the law and the meaning of justice. That, I think, is the individual we're looking for. We are looking for that individual in Argentina, in the US, in India, in Mali, in the Emirates. It doesn't matter where. Now, how